Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is April. I go by Ruby Rouge here on the YouTubes. Today's video is my create your own palette, pan that palette updates. We're getting really close to the finale. I love sharing this project with you guys every single month, and the feedback that I get is really kind and supportive. This has easily become one of my favorite videos. Easily. I love this one. I'm working on the format for next year. I really want to make a few changes, but the idea and the execution could be pretty similar. I'm thinking of doing it like as part of a Shop My Stash series, and then doing something a little different for Pan That Palette. I'm telling you this for two reasons. One is so you can find it if you don't see it anymore, and two, because I'm really curious what you guys are doing for Pan That Palette. I don't see anybody really talking about it. I was thinking about definitely incorporating pan those eyeshadows. I don't know. I have a lot of different ideas, but I'm just kind of curious, and I like kind of just joining in. Sometimes I just want to join in a group project. And it looks like the Fantastic Ladies is kind of fallen away, at least as far as I can see. So I don't know. Just let me know down below if you have any commentary on that subject. Please. Okay, so for those of you who've been with me for the long haul, you know that I've been painting this Viseart palette for 2 years. For the love of everything eyeshadow, I cannot believe that this is the amount of progress that I've made. I just can't believe it. And in 2 years. I mean, it's pretty spectacular because it's not that I haven't been using these. It's legitimately, there's just that much product and that much pigment in these that I don't know. I'm curious to know how long it would actually take for me to use them. The progress on this time is going to be focused on the top row as you watch the photos. I'm still trying to hit pan in this kind of weird taupe color here. It's a very strange color. I'm still trying to hit pan in it. It's not my favorite. And, you know, I'm still working on this super dark brown. I had planned to use this as an eyeliner, but I just haven't been doing that much. So it's what, you know, I'm just not getting the progress on it that I would like. Sorry, my son is protesting bedtime. It's Dad's night to put him to bed, and he's not having it. So let's get into last month's inspiration palette. Please watch last month's video if you want more of an explanation, the intro video if you really want the full explanation of what's going on here. If you really want a more detailed look at this palette, last month is the place to go. This is the palette I created for October and November. I enjoyed this palette this month as usual. I think there's been only one palette that I created that I just did not care that much for. That makes sense because obviously I'm creating this palette for myself. I better like it, right? This palette was very warm toned and very fall inspired. I really love looking at it. I don't know. It's given me all the vibes and the feels, and I really enjoyed it. So let's talk about some of the shadows that I didn't photograph for looks first. The Viseart Cool Mattes palette was mostly a foundation palette for every look. I don't think that I used, other than the deep burgundy shade number 6, I don't think that I really used it much as far as actually creating looks with. I used the first 3 shades, and then if I needed deeper shades, I reached for number 4 and number 5. I missed photographing the look for the Viseart Neutral Mattes number 6. I love that shadow. It's one of my favorite shadows. I rave about it all the time. It is super amazing orange that I compare to all my other orange shadows to. I also photographed a look with this Deuce palette, the pink shade. I photographed my look with the Deuce palette, but the photos were terribly off color balance. Alright, so let's look at some of these looks. Aries and Koi. So this is from the Aries palette, and then my Viseart Koi palette, Burnt Terracotta. Both of these are really good, but not super favorite shadows. I feel like I have better formulations of each of these. For the Aries, for Burnt Terracotta, I have the Viseart number 6 that I was just talking about. And then for Koi, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I just feel like there are things I love about the Koi palette and then things that are just kind of okay about the Koi palette. Out of all my Viseart palettes, I'm going to say that's my least favorite. MAC Coppering and Makeup Geek Masquerade. I was being super experimental on this look. I don't really love it, but it's okay. I wanted to make a copper and purple go together for some reason. I don't know why I was trying to make the copper and the purple go together so much so that I reversed it and I tried it the other way, which is kind of embarrassing because I really was trying to make this go. Which do you prefer? You don't have to like either one. I don't necessarily like either one, but I'm just curious which combo do you prefer? I really do love both shadows, and I have to declutter Masquerade at the end of the year, just because it's really old. I was checking Makeup Geek to see if she had a dupe, and she doesn't have one right now. She's still doing her foiled shadows, which I might pick up one or two of, but I can't believe she doesn't have a dupe for this. This is a great, great, great shade. Matte Coppering is also really nice, and I'm really glad to be using my neglected MAC shadows. Country Roads, this was another experimental look. I ended up really loving Country Roads. I also love my Ofra shadows. They're powdery as hell, but they are really nice and pigmented and blendable. And the ones I have, I've really, really enjoyed. This shade from the Vizier Palette is really nice as well. I mean, the Pro Fuego palette is so good. It is weird. And it makes me feel like weird in my soul that I think this palette is this good. I keep meaning to go check out their shadow selection, if they even have one. Like, I've never even heard people talk about crown shadows. I literally decluttered my Naked Heat because this one was so much better, which I'm not super fan of Urban Decay shadows, but this one was so much better than the Heat palette. I don't know, it kind of like stresses me out. I'm like, what is this palette? I think I got it in a box too, which is even weirder. It's probably the best palette I've ever received in a box. Okay, this is more Viseart. This is the Editorial Brights and the Bijoux palette. Both amazing eyeshadows that performed as expected from one of my absolute favorite brands. Then we have Huda and ColourPop. I love this Mauve Obsessions palette. I always hear mixed reviews about Huda shadows, but this palette's pretty good. And I've been really tempted to buy different ones, but it's like I have so many dupes for everything that it's just hard for me to bite the bullet. I really was going to go get the Mercury Obsessions palette, or Mercury Retrograde, I'm sorry. And I went and I swatched it, and the fallout on it was so bad. I had just a mess. I have that on my Instagram. It was just so bad. I was like, I don't want to buy this. Like, I don't think I'm going to like this. So I don't know. I really did like this ColourPop shadow. So this is the Huda palette again with the Viseart green. Both spectacular shadows. The look is a little springtime, but I had a lot of fun creating it. So I'll have to try to remember to do this one again in the spring. And then lastly, we have Coppering with this Natasha Denona palette in Pangea. This look did not translate for photography, but looked pretty cool in person. The green flecks are all but gone on camera. I really like this shade from the Natasha Denona palette. I'm just not loving this palette. This particular shade is standout. The other shades are really mediocre. So I had trouble even like with blending and sticking and just color, and I don't know. It's just not a great palette for me. All right, so let's move on to the December palette. I was feeling very cool toned and very monochromatic. This palette, almost after I'm looking at it, I'm like, this almost looks more like a January palette for me, but I don't know. That's just what I was feeling. I knew exactly what I wanted before I even sat down, which is rare. I knew I really wanted to build it around hopefully getting some use out of my Cool Matte Neutrals palette before the end of the year, and also having some holiday festive looks. Even if, you know, I'm just going to be festiving at home, I still wanted to have some of that glitter and shine and smoky. That's just my... I also used the least amount of palettes this time as compared to any other month in this project. But let's just go ahead and do some swatches. Starting from left to right, top to bottom. Viseart Cool Mattes as always. Like, I got tired of moving these guys around, so that just became kind of their permanent position. So there's one. Shade 2. This is the weird taupey guy. I've been mixing these first three pretty much together to make like a base shade. Yeah, this one's really like perfectly my skin tone almost, except for it's a little cool. So like it's hard to even see. I'm trying. Okay, did I build it up enough? Like yeah. And then who is next? So that was the first 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Okay. I really do like that shade a lot. There we go. Okay. Needed to wipe my fingers off. I have one more in this row. This is a really, really gray. It is very cool toned, very gray. It's actually pretty neutral though. Yeah, very Eeyore. One palette that these two shadows here just speak to me. This is Glitter, Memory Glitter. They just speak holiday to me. Oh my gosh, I shouldn't have did that last swatch. I just made a mess, didn't I? Oh my gosh, that is stunning. And then we're gonna go back to the Viseart palette and do number 8, which is this one actually. I'm gonna make a mess here. Yeah, so this one is even more neutral. That one's a really nice deep gray. And then we're gonna go, oh, I swatched these out of order, dang it. I knew I would do that. And then we'll go here. Oh, I don't think it matters. That's Memory Metallic. I really love this Tati Beauty palette. I've reached for it. Not as much as I thought I would, but just because it's newer probably, and also more than I thought I would. So I really, really like it. I'm very disappointed that how things have kind of played out in that realm. I really do think that Tati Beauty probably could have done some really great things. So I don't know. We'll see what happens next, but okay, this guy, and this is my Bijoux. Oh. I mean, I don't know why I keep swatching everything twice. Making my life harder. Yeah, ooh, that's good. The Boheme Dream palette, and this nice blue shade. Kind of wanted to bring in that light blue shade. I wanted something to play with. Maybe this, maybe get a little bit more use out of this dark blue. The shade Swatches notoriously bad for me, but it actually works pretty well. So here we go. One of my absolute favorite shades for Christmas and the holidays is this green. Oh my gosh. I mean, nothing says pine tree like this green. I'm going to do it. Oh man. Yeah, I love that shadow a lot. So there's half the palette. There we go. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Luxury Palette of Pops in Celestial Eyes. And this one is Prime. So this one is definitely like a duochrome. It's definitely got an orange to it, but a pink flash. So it's an orange and pink. And then I'm going to bring in Makeup Geek. This is Masquerade again. There's like a fuzz. That was a fuzz on my fingernail, probably from the wipe I just used. Okay. It's really hard for me to swatch this way. I don't like it. Alright, I moved the camera if you feel disoriented. Then we're going to go back into this Charlotte Tilbury Smoke. This is definitely one of those deep, dark, smoky ones that I was talking about. Oh, it's like a deep, smoky cranberry brown. It's got flecks in there of, if I can catch that. This palette has just been okay to me. I got it in a lucky bag, so it's just okay. I haven't played with it all that much either though, so I was kind of saving it for this time of year just because that's when it spoke to me the most. This is from my Viseart palette. That one's not swatching good either, but there we go. Just a brown. Very, very cool tone brown, almost black. And back to this palette. Okay, it's very light pink. Okay, very candy. There we go. This is ABH, oh, hold on, I'm going to mess this up. ABH Blushing. Is that the wrong? Can't tell, my fingers are getting stained from. This is also a very light pink. It just has just a little bit of shimmer to it. And it's slightly warmer. Moving on to, this is Makeup Geek Simply Marlena. It is going at the end of the year too. I thought I would give it one last opportunity to get a little bit of use. Ooh. It's actually a really nice shade. But I just didn't use it. And then we're going in with Viseart 07. Charlotte Tilbury and Pop. Just a very festive gold glitter. And then back to the Vizier Royale. Another gold. Oh man, I got way too much. That's going to make a mess. Slightly different. More greenish gold. And then lastly, back to the Charlotte Tilbury palette, and we're going to go in Enhance. Oh, that's pretty. It's warm toned, kind of an orangey. Pretty, pretty. Alright guys, so that is all for this update. Thanks so much for hanging out, and I won't keep you any longer. I hope you're enjoying the holiday season, and I'll see you again soon.